And welcome back, peeps. From that break, we are here in the JJ Zone. Join the Journey Radio. Today, talking about making time to be holy. And, as we're talking about in the last segment of the program, one of the keys to having joy in life, regardless of your circumstances, is to live with intention. So you're intending a certain outcome when you approach what you do. And, when you match up the right outcome with the right approach, then you tend to get more of the results that you want out of life. A key part of that process is living with intention. And so in this segment of the program, I wanted to talk more about how do we do that? How do we approach what we do with intention so that we get that proper alignment and we get more of the results that we want out of our lives? Well, I think there's a couple of things you want to keep in mind. The first is, living with intention means you're not actually playing a habit. So, if at any time you find yourself just going through the motions and doing without really thinking about what you're doing, not being all that conscious of what you're doing, that's a sign that says you're playing out a habit. And you need to get out of that. You really need to get out of that more. Now, I'm not saying that you need to do every single thing in your life that way. We're biologically hardwired to have habits for a number of reasons. And one of those reasons is if you had to consciously think about everything you did and your brain would just, it'd seize up and just, tucker out because it would just be so exhausted. Our brain is not designed to be thinking like that all day long. Our brain is designed to play out a habit, follow a set of instructions, So you want to develop, a system of approaching life to where you follow instructions that get you to the place where you want to be. Now, how do we develop those instructions? Well, some of that is just trial and error. Okay. You just living life, but living with intention, I think, is a key component to include in that trial and error sequence because you're living with intention. Okay, you're getting out of this habitual rut, and this is what leads to mediocrity. Is that you're just going along, bobbing along on the sea of life, taking you whatever the waves will take you. That's where you're gonna. I mean, no, no, no. The real joy in life comes from setting a course and doing what you can to move into that direction, living with intention. Okay, living with intention. So one of the things that, I think we need to keep in mind is this idea of getting out of habit. Another thing that we need to embrace in this, living with intention journey to help us to do that more is to recognize the place where you are. So, and for a lot of LDS singles, when it comes to dating, so many of us are not living in the place where we are. Okay, we're so anxious to get to the end result. Okay, that we're skipping over the early stages of the journey because we don't want to be in the early stages. We want to be in the later stages. Well, there's a problem with that. And that is if you're actually in one of those earlier stages and you act like you're in one of the later stages, that misalignment leads to confusion and frustration. Okay? And you broadcast an energy to other people that says you don't have all your stuff together. When you live with intention, okay, you recognize the place where you are and you intend to be in that place. You act with the intention to be in that place. Okay, so many of us give off a vibe that is threatening to other people, especially when it comes to dating, because we're giving off this vibe that says, I want to be in one of these later stages. But the other person is recognizing, hey, I don't really know that I want to be in one of those later stages with you yet. Maybe we should stick around the early stages to begin with, and then I can see if I really want to be in the later stages with you. See, we are our own worst obstacles. because of the way we approach what we're doing. So when you recognize that be in the place where you are means if you're in, say, like the friendship stage, the dreaded friend zone. Yes, the dreaded friend zone. And which it really isn't a bad place. It's really a good place. It's an essential place. It's the first stage of the dating journey. If you can't, associate with people on just a strict friendship basis, you're going to have a rough time with married life. You really are, because if you got to have that friendship, is going to be the foundation for everything moving forward. It's a lot easier. Okay, not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's a lot easier to get through contentious moments when you know that the other person is deep down inside your friend and not just there to get some sort of advantage. Okay, because if that's how you approach the relationship, once that advantage disappears, the basis for your relationship goes bye-bye, and you're left with problems. So friendship is so essential. Got to start there. And if that's the place where you're at, be in the place where you are. Live with intention. Focus on building friendship with people. So many of our interactions are based on, potential dating opportunities. I don't want to talk to that person because I would never date that person. Okay, that, that may be fine. I'm not going to criticize your decision, even though it may be worthy of criticism. I know we'd have to look into the details for me to assess that, but I'm not gonna criticize that now. If you don't want to be more than friends with somebody, then don't be. But that's no basis for withholding friendship. There's no basis for, there's nothing in that justifies not being a friend to someone who needs a friend. Friendship is the first stage of the dating journey. If you can't, succeed with friendship, you're going to have problems later on. You really are. So we need to be in the place where we are. Now, if you're in the next stage of the dating journey, which is the casual dating journey, then be in the place where you are. Don't think that you're going to have, it's like, oh, this person agreed to go out with me, so now I've got this long-term commitment. You start making all these plans, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. You're not being in the place where you are. Okay, casual dating. Think about that now. Think about that. Casual. Okay, casual means there are no long-term commitments. It's casual. So you have a commitment for the length of the date activity. Once the date activity is over, so is the commitment of each party to each other, right? And so you need to be acting in accordance with that. If this is the stage where you're in, this is how you need to be. Live with intention. Live with intention of being in the place where you are. It simplifies so many things for Latter-day Saint singles. And when you actually be in the place where you are, okay, it opens a door for taking your life to the next level, because when you can live with intention, okay, you start finding the real joy in things. So, for example, if you say you're part of a service project activity, okay, if it's being organized by a singles group, you might go with the intention of finding potential dating opportunity. But what if you actually live with the intention of, hey, I'm just going to go to serve and help other people out. I'm not in it for me. I'm in it to see what other people can get out of it. What would result from taking that approach and living with that intention? I think you'd be in a whole different place if that was the intention that you used to go forward and lived your life with. The thing about doing that, with everything in your life, okay, in the monologue, I'm talking about building that relationship with the Lord, because that's fundamental to everything. I mean, how could your dating life be transformed if you actually had a more trusting relationship with the Lord? You think he could give you the revelation you need to guide you to what you need to be doing, the next steps you need to take to make progress in your journey? Do you think that he would lead you along and that, he would take you to a place where you really want to be? And how are you going to follow his lead if you don't trust him enough to follow his lead? If you think you know better, where's that gonna take you? What is that going to result? You, you know, uh, Living with intention, okay, of building that relationship with him so that you do trust him implicitly. And I don't think there's like one, solid experience that just transforms it for us to say, I wasn't trusting with him, now I trust him completely. I think it's like any other relationship. It's built little bit by little bit. As we read in the scriptures, line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. But it's approaching those moments every day of those activities you can build that relationship with him. When you approach prayer with intention of building the relationship, when you approach scripture study with the intent of building the relationship, when you attend the temple with the intention of building the relationship, or you go to your church meetings, you take the sacrament with the intention of building a relationship with him. Are you getting the picture here? Are you trying to see the broader picture that I'm trying to deliver to you? There's so many of us are so focused on the small little thing that we need, that it's just the thorn in our side that we want to try to get rid of. Well, there's a much bigger thing here called life, and you're missing out on it if all you're doing is focusing on the one little thing that's causing you heartache. There's so much joy to be had all along our journey, not just at the end, all along our journey. And the key to living with maximum joy is living with intention, making conscious choices about what we're going to do and when we're doing it. So when it comes to practical advice on how to live with intention, I'd say it starts with that mindset, those principles that we just been talking about here in this segment of the program. But in addition, we're going to need to schedule time to do the things that need to be done. As we're coming up to a break now, let's go ahead and take that break. When we come back from the break, I'm going to wrap up the program with some final thoughts about scheduling living life with intention. I'll see you there on the other side.